Duke has confirmed it is a grid apocalypse. And we are going to be talking about some of the craziest things that are going on right now in a short and shareable clip. Duke Energy confirms grid apocalypse in North Carolina amid backlash over the JB response, the current admin, and the FEMA mess. Now, I say FEMA for a reason, because right now this is a huge debate. And they're trying to say that all of this is, there's a bunch of crazy people saying a bunch of crazy things right now. But we're going to show you the evidence and, of course, some of the comments by some of the more reputable people that are talking about this subject. Now, Duke Energy is the company that is in charge of the power in this area that is affected. Now, Helene, or Helena, as some call it, has been basically one of the worst destructive hurricanes that has ever happened, at least since Katrina. And of course, this whole thing has just been completely handled wrong in the eyes of many. And it says, we initially reported on unfolding power grid crisis Wednesday morning in a note titled Grid Apocalypse Hits Carolinas. 360 substations down. Power restoration could take, quote, months. Citing experts who warned it could take a very long time to restore power to everyone due to shortages of transformers and other electrical equipment and critically low U.S. stockpiles. Now, that's a scary thought, even for a regional disaster. Think about if we have our entire grid go down. Think about our grid goes down at the same time as the entire world is already trying to deal with inflation, all of this. Our supply chain has all sorts of huge broken chains in it. And then, of course, we have approximately 370 substations were out of service from the storm in the Duke Energy Carolinas service area for those that were damaged and can't be repaired in a timely manner. Mobile substations will be installed to allow us to restore service as soon as it is safe to do so, Duke wrote on X. So this is a massive and way more massive than anyone had thought in the first days after the storm. And of course, with water levels coming down, we are starting to see some of this damage, which is crazy that it's just happening now. We had entire substations that we were underwater. As of Thursday morning, PowerOutage.us data shows that nearly 1 million power outages across South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia. We first reported the substation dilemma on Wednesday. The shortage of transformers and other grid components could leave parts of western North Carolina without power for weeks, if not, in some cases, months. Now, imagine if there is really no setup for grocery stores, nothing around you, and your power is out for not, days, but weeks and even possibly months. There's a lot of people that are just not prepared for that. And I would believe that it's in a huge, huge percentile, like, 80% or 90% of people aren't ready for this kind of long-term thing, if not 95%. I mean, there's a lot of self-sustainable people in our group, but I'm telling you, the majority, they might be ready for a 3-day storm, or they might have batteries and flashlights for maybe a couple days, but they do not have the ability to survive a month without anything on the outside or power. So this is a massive deal, and the bigger problem is that there's claims that not everything is being done to fix it. So we're going to talk about that tonight, but a reminder, watching this independent channel, remember, be polite in the chat, be polite in the comments, but also if you want to support us and get yourself prepped up for any kind of disaster, go over and check out Jace. Jace is not only a service that you can get medicines through a telehealth appointment through a board-certified doctor. You can actually get antibiotics, a kit with all of the most prescribed antibiotics in a Jace case. It has everything you would need as far as antibiotics, and you can even add things to it, such as albuterol, iodine, and even things that CNN didn't want you to take. So go over and check it out. That is marfooglenews.com/Jace, and then also check out their of course, Jace Daily. That is a 12-month supply of your extended supply of prescription meds. If you are taking meds daily, then this is definitely a good thing to have, especially when, say, even if you do have a pharmacy, if it doesn't have power for a month, it's probably not going to be serving you up with your daily medications. Go to marfooglenews.com/Jace, code MARF to save and to save independent media. Let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on and how are you doing today?
Hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
And sorry, you guys, I'm a bit under the weather, and it's just been a crazy few days just in general with the news. But as you guys know, I try rain, sleet, or snow to get on here and to update you, especially when there's the stuff this big. I could not cover this. What is that? A double negative? You guys get my drift. Now, Dex, let's talk about the SpaceX engineer. We have to be careful with this because I'm sure that afterwards they're going to say, oh, well, this engineer, blah, blah. They're probably going to personally go after. I bet you there's going to be MSMs that personally go after like this guy. Be like, well, one time he had a girlfriend in 98 and that girlfriend said he's a jerk or something. Because what he's saying is hurting the reputation of people in the highest of places. Dex, do you want to go over what happened here? And it came directly off of Elon's X account.
Certainly. So this engineer who was responsible for distributing I guess he's a SpaceX engineer. He's responsible for delivering the Starlink internet capabilities out there. Remember, they opened up the internet access for free. Anybody with a terminal, it didn't matter what subscription plan, if your subscription had expired, it would still work. They turned them on for everybody. And not only did they say, hey, anybody in that affected area could have free internet, because there's zero connectivity right now in these areas. They also said we're going to go distribute them and get them in there so that people can have communication with the outside world and know what's going on. Well, this is one of the engineers who was working on that project, and they were working diligently to get that equipment in there. And they had not just that equipment, but also working with other groups to bring food and supplies and water and lots of other things. Well, he basically confirmed to Elon about certain government agencies blocking. And this is when I say confirmed, I guess what I had heard and I had seen, and lots of people have been talking about, is tons of reports that this was happening. But you had to kind of question, like, you may hear it from this person and hear it from that person, but then we get, somebody with, I guess, a little bit of more credibility in the sense that it's a large corporation trying to do something, and they're admitting that they're getting blocked. So he said he got blocked. They were getting blocked from being able to distribute this stuff. So that's more evidence, at least at a high level of credibility, from a company that is trying to do this, working with other organizations. And this article goes through lots of scenarios now, or lots of different reports that are happening where they're just not being allowed to get the supplies, the people, the manpower, etc., in to help.
He even said it's very real and scary how much they have taken control to stop the supposed help, right? And right now, they said that in this latest update, they said, we're waiting to get an escort from the fire department, but that may not be enough. So there's other agencies that are saying, hey, please let this happen. Please let this happen. But it's just not going through. Now, that came straight off of Elon's X account. Dex, go ahead.
Well, yeah, and, at a local level, you're going to see the locals want the support. You're going to see even local sheriffs and stuff welcome that type of external support, because what's actually happening and what's being reported at the government level is there's not enough funding to even provide the support needed. As a matter of fact, it appears that this event is so much larger than anyone is really reporting about it, and outside of the people that are there that are living through it, it's not being seen in the light that it really should be. And maybe that is by design. Certainly a good question to ask. Why is this not being talked about? Why is it not being brought front and center? But at the same time, why would the organization at the federal level that's responsible for this, if they're out of money, why wouldn't they, expand that and say, we'll take any help from anybody right now?
And by the way, so my impression was that if I wanted to go and volunteer anywhere, so say there's a disaster in Ohio and I want to help some of my family members, or my family's in disaster, there's a flood. It was always my impression that there was ways to volunteer. Like if you wanted to go and do that you could. Dex, is that assumption wrong? Is that something you used to be able to do and now you can't?
Well, it seems to be the common trend with the federal organization there is that they want to take more control of this, and they want to restrict that access so that they have full authority over it. And it makes it more difficult. A lot of people in Katrina said they saw the challenges then. There's been hurricane events in southern Florida and the Keys as a good example, where other groups were not allowed to cross the bridge into the Keys, even though the bridge was passable. So they had to make their own way around that federal organization and by boat, and literally go like 80 miles around them, so because of the patrols that were in the water to prevent them from coming in, to bring supplies in. And it at that time seemed like it was more of a financial issue, in the sense that it wasn't the right donations and the right suppliers, the approved companies that were part of the government and the organization that were bringing stuff in. So at least that was one person's recollection of that event. So when we look at what's happening now, you've also got this big event happening in, less than a month now, or about a month away from the big selection process coming. It might not be a good publicity thing to have this event happening and have this horrible catastrophe on the hands of an administration. That could be one lens to look at this. I think it's very worthwhile to think of it that way. But at the end of the day, the people are suffering. And if people are here to help, locals, churches, organizations, and even private businesses, then they should be able to do it.
Also, there was a response here. So from this, because there are a lot of people that saw this tweet by Elon. In fact, his original tweet, 19 million views. And then 65,000 retweets, and then those retweets, obviously, they're seen then all over the world, right? Well, this was the response. FE and MA actually reposted this woman's post, and this woman ends up being one of their spokespeople, says there are many dangerous, misleading rumors spreading about #Helene. The response on it, which can be actively prevent survivors from getting help. Our top priority is ensuring that disaster assistance is reaching people in need. They're essentially saying that they're dangerous. It is dangerous, misleading rumors. And those misleading rumors, others responded and said, yeah, dangerous, misleading rumors directly from the people that are there. Basically saying its eyewitness account is a rumor. That's people aren't taking that well. A lot of people are responding to that even worse. So the fact that they said that and reposted it didn't make too many people happy. And then JB, go ahead.
What's that old saying, Adam? I'm from the federal government and I'm here to help.
Yeah. Reagan's line. Yeah.
Yeah, Reagan's line. So it fits so well here. Like, don't trust it.
I'm here from the government and I'm here to help. And then JB makes first ever White House briefing room appearance, and not to talk about Helene, or Helena, he accidentally called it that earlier, but to talk about the Pick the Prez Day. Now, they actually talk about in this article how nobody was prepared for this. Nobody knew he was coming in. I guess he just kind of was like walking by. And I'm being facetious here, but like walking by on his lunch and goes, oh, hey, reporters popped in and said, hey, guys, by the way, I'm pretty scared of what's about to happen. It was so unexpected that the whole room was empty. And I think that this kind of seems purposeful. The room was empty. It did not have some of the kind of the reporters that grill him, that say, wait, you said this before, you said that. Some of the guys, like the Fox reporter guy that's always there that, kind of breaks his balls. And then, of course, there was like 4 or 5 people there from one angle, and it looks like there was maybe 7 or 8 instead of 30 or 40, right? So he pops in, and then he basically talks about the the Pick the Prez Day, and he goes, hey, I know it's going to be fair. I know it's going to be free, but I'm not sure it's going to be peaceful. So they are pointing out that he popped in basically to say that he thinks it is going to be a mess. It says, I'm confident it will be free and fair. I don't know whether it will be peaceful. And then points out, he goes, the things that the former Prez has said and the things that he has said last time out when he didn't like the outcome were very dangerous. And he goes, have you noticed? I've noticed that the VP, JD, did not say he'd accept the outcome and hasn't even accepted the outcome of the last one. So I'm concerned about what they're going to do. Now, I even saw that, what was it? What's his face? He is a liberal. He does a comedy show. He's been around. He's been on SNL. He's been around for 40 years. Like, what is the guy? Bill Maher. Bill Maher even said, he goes, it is kind of shady when you ask somebody before it even happens to say, hey, we want to make sure, will you please accept the outcome if you don't, win? It's like, well, wait and see, right? And he even said that it's weird. That's a question that you ask in case something weird's going on, right? So this is just like, it's so odd that all of this is going on. But we'll be following it. And of course, all of the Helene, they're saying it's worse than Katrina. If you remember the coverage that it had back then, it was insane. And they're saying that this is 10 times, 1,000 times worse than that. People still without power. There's thousands of people unaccounted for. So, I mean, it's just absurd that they somehow have made this so it's not the top of the news. It's not front page news. And it pretty much seems purposeful. But again, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Let me know in the comments down below. So join Dex and I over on Marfoogle TV, our sister channel. This was a short shareable clip, so if you can, please share it out. I think that everybody should have a plan. We have less than 32 days before that big day that they say may not be peaceful. So again, it's always good to have a contingency plan, and we have covered time and time again, they are coming up with contingency after contingency after contingency. If they're doing it, we probably should too. Remember, they're actually planning they're even trying to propose a 28th Amendment to make sure that if 100 of the Congress people just suddenly disappear, that they'll have something set up to replace them. Something odd is going on. Something smells in the neighborhood. So make sure to join us over on that next show. If you're in the chat, just stay here. Or if you're watching the replay, all you have to do is click here.